Hi, my name is Ashley and welcome to my channel. I'm a homeschooling mom with 4, soon to be 5 kids, and I'm currently homeschooling my almost 9-year-old who's in 3rd grade, my 7-year-old who's in 2nd grade, 4-year-old who's in preschool, and then we have a 1-year-old who always keeps us on our toes, and then of course the baby on the way. So this channel is all about tips, tricks, homeschool reviews, homeschool walkthroughs, and a little encouragement and faith along the way. So today I just wanted to walk you through our homeschool picks for the 2026-2027 school year. I have a 3rd grader and a 2nd grader. And so I just want to show you what we picked and let you know what we kept and what we changed from last year. Okay, so once I started filming, I realized that it was it was becoming a very chatty video, and I started talking about the curriculum a little bit more than I meant to. So if you're up for that, keep watching. But if you want just kind of like more of a basic, this is what we're doing this school year, this is what you want to watch. So for handwriting this year, we are doing the good and the beautiful. Joshua is finishing up Handwriting Without Tears, and then he'll move on to level 2 of the good and the beautiful handwriting. Olivia is finishing up the good and the beautiful level 2 handwriting, and she will move on to their cursive curriculum. For history, we are finishing up, we started mid-school year with Early American History by Beautiful Feet Books. We are finishing that curriculum out this school year and loving it. But I decided to add a geography curriculum while we do this. And so our geography curriculum is U.S. Geography and Social Studies by Master Books. But instead of doing it in alphabetical order as they suggest, we're doing it based on what we're learning. So when we learned about Pennsylvania and Benjamin Franklin, we learned about Pennsylvania and geography. For science, both kids are doing Master Books, God's Design, Life for Beginners. We started this like halfway through last school year, and so we're finishing it up, and then we'll move on to the next book once they're done with that. For math, Joshua, my 2nd grader, he's doing the good and the beautiful, Math 2, level 2. He is already halfway through the 2nd grade level. We're 1 month in for 2nd grade, and he's halfway through math. Yeah. So he's doing that. Olivia so last school year, she finished half the school year out with Math with Confidence. We are going to continue Math with Confidence for her for 3rd grade, but then we are also going to supplement here and there with Master Books, Math, Lessons for a Living Education. So she's going to kind of go back and forth between the two, but our main will be Math with Confidence. For grammar, they are both doing BJU, English, Writing and Grammar. Olivia's doing 3rd grade, Joshua's doing 2nd grade. That's our first year doing BJU. We are continuing with All About Spelling. And then for reading, we dropped All About Reading. Long story, but we dropped All About Reading, and we are, I'm just picking and choosing books like Charlotte's Web, Swiss Family Robinson, Anne of Green Gables, the Little House on the Prairie series. I'm just picking books like that. They will read them. They're reading about 1 chapter every day. Sometimes they read to me. Other times they can read to themselves, but they keep a daily book log or a reading log, and then they do a book report at the end of every book. And so that's what we're doing for reading. And then we also get our literature in through our history. So that's the quick rundown of what we are doing curriculum-wise for our 2026-2027 school year. If you want some more in-depth look into why I chose what, how we're using everything, you can keep watching the video. So start with kind of the basics. We decided to go ahead and keep all about spelling. We started it honestly like when my oldest was in kindergarten, but at the time we were doing the Good and the Beautiful language arts, and so they were already getting spelling in that, and so we just kind of used all about spelling as more of like a supplemental curriculum. But then we changed things up big time and walked away from the Good and the Beautiful and started doing last year all about reading and all about spelling. And we kept all about spelling. So we've moved on to all about spelling for this year, level 3, and I'm actually doing level 3 with both my kids at the same time. So we do the lessons together, which makes it easy for us. We finished out level 2 of all about reading, and for this school year I decided to drop all about reading and keep all about spelling. And a big part of that was also just because we do have a baby on the way, and this baby is due at the beginning of the school year. And so I was like, I really need to just simplify our homeschool this year. So if there's something that I can simplify, I need to choose that. And so instead of all about reading, what I'm doing is I am just choosing books for each one of my kids to read throughout the year, and they will give me like daily updates. Sometimes they read it on their own, like they'll read a chapter on their own or something, and then other times I'll have them sit down with me and read it to me. Pretty much every day I check in and though and ask, like, so what happened in the chapter you were reading today? And then they tell me. That way I kind of have an idea if they're comprehending well, because they're reading it to me. And if they're not reading it to me that day, I'm at least getting feedback on what is going on in that chapter, so I know if they're actually comprehending. And then I made a little reading log for them. The reading log is available for free on my website, and so I'll link that if you want to check that out. But they just fill out their reading log every day, and then when they're finished with the book, they do a little book report on it. And then we file the book log and the book report in their records. And so that's what I'm doing for reading. And so this school year is a little different since I am having a baby at the beginning of the school year. We decided to start homeschooling throughout the summer. So usually we take a nice summer break and start school at the end of August. This year we chose to just take a slight break and go on vacation and then jump right back into school. So we've already started our school year, and then that way when the baby's born, we can take like a month off or something like that, and we'll do like a bigger break then and still have time left over to do a big Christmas break as well. And so far what my kids have read for reading is Olivia's reading Anne of Green Gables, and then Joshua read Little House in the Big Woods, and then he's also already finished Swiss Family Robinson. He is a big reader. He loves reading, and he excels, which is another reason why I felt like we don't really need to do all about reading, because both my kids are strong readers. And so I just didn't really feel like we had to do it. If one of them or both of them were struggling with reading, we definitely would have kept going with it, but I didn't feel like it was like something that they really, really needed. So Olivia's doing Anne of Green Gables, and she's also been reading like just in her free time, like the All-American Girl doll Felicity books. So she's already read that whole series in like a month on top of Anne of Green Gables. And then Joshua was enjoying Swiss Family so much that he just kept reading it. So I have them do like a chapter every day, but he just decided to sit down and devour the book, and he did. And he actually was able to tell me what the book is about, and his book report was great. And so we're moving on. This is the first year, well, that's not true. Last year I don't remember which workbook it was, but it was like a workbook type grammar, like maybe Spectrum. I don't remember. And it seemed to be working because, you know, they were getting all the stuff right on the pages. They were doing the quizzes and tests well. But then I would say, you know, oh, well, what's a noun? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what a noun is? So I realized that for whatever reason, they could do really, really well in the workbook and were thriving in the workbook, but they weren't actually comprehending any of it and understanding any of it. And so this year, I didn't even make them finish it. I was like, we're just done. We're done. We won't finish grammar this year. So we didn't. But this year I wanted to do, especially since like Olivia's going into third grade, I wanted to do something more in depth and something that they would actually understand better. So I needed something that was still open and go, but more teacher hands-on. I needed something that was I was like, I need to teach them grammar. It's not working just doing the workbooks. So after some research, I landed on BJU Press, English, Writing, and Grammar. And so Olivia and Joshua are both doing it. Olivia's doing third grade, Joshua's doing second grade. And so far I'm really enjoying it. I will say huge learning curve. This is the first time we've ever done BJU, and it was a huge learning curve. Now I love it, and it's amazing. I'm seeing tons of progress in my kids. Like, they actually know what a noun is now. It's wonderful. And I've also just kind of gotten to a point where I've kind of learned, I kind of have an understanding of like, okay, this instructional aid is going to be the exact same thing as the workbook. So we're just going to jump straight to the workbook and forget about the instructional aid. Things like that. So I'm feeling more comfortable and confident with it to kind of just say, we're just not going to use that and we're just going to do this or whatever. And so that's what we're doing for grammar and writing, because it is writing and grammar. The first 2 chapters is grammar, and then they do 1 chapter of writing. And then they just kind of go back and forth between grammar and writing. So it's mostly grammar, but there is a lot of writing in it as well. And then 1 chapter is multiple lessons. And so you're focusing on grammar quite a bit, and then it switches over to writing, which is fun because I feel like it kind of breaks it up. It makes it a little bit more fun for the kids. But then it goes back into the grammar and everything, which is good. So I'm enjoying it, my kids are enjoying it, and I think it's working really well. Like I said, it was very frustrating in the beginning, but now we're good. I think we're good now. So that's what we're doing for like language arts. Then for math, for Olivia, so we switched from the Good and the Beautiful last year. Halfway through her second grade year, we switched from the Good and the Beautiful to Math with Confidence. The Good and the Beautiful was just not working for her anymore, and it wasn't clicking. And so I did some research and landed on Math with Confidence. So we switched to Math with Confidence, and she was doing really, really, really well in it until we got to multiplication. And things kind of started falling apart. And I'm not totally sure why. I mean, I think it's just like the way that they were teaching it. She wasn't understanding, like her brain wasn't working. It's not wired the way that it needed to be wired in order to understand the method that they were teaching for multiplication. And so we stopped Math with Confidence for a while. I just paused it. And I went back a little bit to like the good and the beautiful, to see if like that could like help her grasp it better. Because I was like, she understood, like when the good and the beautiful introduced multiplication, she understood it. And now it's like she doesn't even understand it. And so, or she'll understand it, but she's confused about how they're telling her to do it. And so I was like, I need to figure out what's going on. And so she did a few lessons from Math 3. I just printed them off, since you can print off stuff from the good and the beautiful. I printed off their multiplication lessons, and it clicked better for her. And so I was like, okay, do I move away from Math with Confidence, even though it was working really, really well until we got to multiplication? So then I was like, you know what, we're just going to focus on multiplication until you get a good handle on it. And so we did just like random worksheets, you know, some workbooks that I had just laying around that had various things inside them. I just pull out the multiplication pages and we'd work on it. We'd work on just flashcards, things like that. Skip counting. We did a lot of just basic skip counting, things like that. And then I found this on sale at a local store that was getting rid of all of their homeschool curriculum. This is Master Books Math. And so I was like, let's just kind of go back to basics. Like, let's just reset. And so she started doing this, like for this school year, over the summer for her 3rd grade year. She started doing Master Books Math, which focuses like, we were focusing on just like the skip counting and just, you know, mental math and stuff like that, because I realized that her mental math wasn't super strong, because the good and the beautiful didn't really focus on mental math at all. But Math with Confidence really relies on that. And so I was like, okay, so we need to fix that, and we need to go back. And I'm not saying that the good and the beautiful isn't a good curriculum. So please hear me out on that. Like, I love it. I think it's a great curriculum. It just was not working for her. And so we had to just switch. So then she was doing great in Master Books. And then that made me kind of think, like, should I switch? And then they taught multiplication in this. And so I was like, let's just see how it goes. And so I had her learn multiplication again with Master Books, and she picked it up like that. And so I was like, okay, you know what? We only have like one more lesson of multiplication in Math with Confidence. Let's just go back to that. So she did about a month. She did about her first month of her 3rd grade year doing Math with Confidence and just focusing on skip counting, mental math, and things like that. And then we have officially gone back to Math with Confidence. And now that she's through multiplication and totally understands multiplication now, and we're not doing multiplication in this currently, we're working on finding the perimeter and things like that, she's doing fantastic with Math with Confidence again. So I think what I've kind of decided for this school year, we're still kind of deciding 100%. But where I'm at right now is we are going to continue with Math with Confidence. And then every now and then we will pull a lesson or two from Master Books. We're primarily going to be doing Math with Confidence. We're just sprinkling in math from Master Books here and there for the 3rd grader, for my 3rd grader. Then with Joshua, who's in 2nd grade, we are still with the good and the beautiful. Like I said, I don't hate the good and the beautiful. I don't dislike it. It works really, really well for him. He does great with it. He has no issues with it. He's thriving. And some days he knocks out 2 lessons just because he enjoys it and he's quick and can do it. And so he's doing fantastic with the good and the beautiful. So we kept the good and the beautiful math for him. And for science, we started last year Science is another one for me, man. Science.
Cannot comprehend and understand contextually a lot of Bible and doctrine. So why are we just throwing it at our young kids? Like, my 7-year-old has no business learning about Jezebel. My 7-year-old has no business reading
Master books. And this one is the God's Design series. They have several different series for science. I liked this one best, God's Design. And we started with Life for beginners. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's a great combination of bringing in like the biblical without it feeling like a Bible study. We are loving this. This is designed for K through 2nd grade. But we kind of started it halfway through our last school year, so we're finishing it up. We're finishing it up this year. And then we'll move on to the next thing. It's great. It's light without feeling too light, if that makes sense. So I really like it. I think it's great. The kids have been learning a lot with it. History, we are finishing up. We started this last school year. This one is by Beautiful Feet Books, Early American History. It is for kindergarten through 3rd grade, is what it says. So we started this last year, and they say that you can split it up between 2 years, like do half one year, half the next year, or do the whole year and then go through it a 2nd year, but do the more advanced stuff for the older kids. I plan on doing this probably 3 school years. So last year we did half, and then this year we started with like the Revolutionary War, which is so perfect because it's the 250th anniversary of our amazing nation. And my little history buffs love they are like the most patriotic kids you'll ever meet. They're obsessed with George Washington, and I love that. I love it. So I love that we ended perfectly where we got to read about Benjamin Franklin and now the 4th of July and Revolutionary War and George Washington. So this one covers not only history, but it also covers our literature requirement for our state. We're talking so much about the colonies. This is a great opportunity to teach geography, like U.S. geography. And so as we learned about Benjamin Franklin, we were talking a lot about Pennsylvania. And so I was like, let's just do some geography. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to just kind of like get out a map and show them where each of these places were and talk about it a little bit. And I was like, no, let's just do a little bit more in depth. And so I landed on Master Books, U.S. Geography and Social Studies. It's super light. They have 2 different books, a children's atlas and then Passport to the World. They're very similar but have different information in them about the different states. I don't have those 2 books with me right now. And then the teacher's guide is really more like the student workbook because it has all the student pages in it. What we did was I just picked like one day after a lesson about Benjamin Franklin and talking about Pennsylvania. I pulled out the atlas and not Passport to the World, Passport to America, and we read about Pennsylvania. And so we talked about Pennsylvania, and then I printed off, I found online just like a random like blank map of the colonies. And so I'm having them label it and color it and stuff like that as we learn it. And then they get to do the little work pages. They get to do the little work pages for that state as well. So the way that so we're really making this one our own because this geography goes in alphabetical order. So you just go state by state in alphabetical order, and we're not doing that. We're making it work for us. We're going based off of what we're reading. And so since we're going to be reading about George Washington we are going to learn about Virginia while we learn about him. So that's what we're doing for geography this year. And then for handwriting, I really do like The Good and the Beautiful. I've used Handwriting Without Tears also, and I like that one too. So I kind of bounce back and forth. Like right now, Joshua's finishing, he's finishing up, I can't remember which level of Handwriting Without Tears, but he's finishing up Handwriting Without Tears, and then he's going to move on to level 2, Good and the Beautiful Handwriting. And then Olivia's finishing up level 2 of the Good and the Beautiful Handwriting, and she's going to move on to cursive with the Good and the Beautiful. We're doing that. I kind of did that same thing with cursive. Like which cursive curriculum am I going to use? I kind of just looked at samples, and once again, I really liked how the Good and the Beautiful form their letters, and so I went with the Good and the Beautiful for cursive. She'll be starting that when she's done with this one. This handwriting, I don't make them do it every day, because with All About Spelling, they're spelling words every day, and so I just remind them, like, this is part of your handwriting, so you need to have nice handwriting, and if you don't have nice handwriting, I'm going to make you do it again. And so they get a lot of handwriting practice in, so I'm a little bit looser on the actual handwriting curriculum, but we do it. It's just not an everyday thing for us. It's like a 1 page every other day, or a couple pages here and there type thing. Or if I notice that they're starting to get a little sloppy with some of their formations, it's like, okay, go do some handwriting. So that's kind of how we use that. And then obviously, like, we're required by our state to do like U.S. Constitution and civics. But we talk about that a lot in our family, just like in our day-to-day life. And we also cover it a lot in our history. So a lot of these subjects cover a lot, like, they cover a lot of different things. And so we are, like, even our state also requires speech and narration and things like that. But I'm like, we are writing and we're reading stories aloud, and so it's like everything that is required by our state. We may not have like a physical curriculum for it, but it is covered somewhere in all of this. And so that's kind of what we do. That's what we're doing for homeschool this year. We changed stuff up quite a bit this year. Like the first couple of years that we homeschooled, it was kind of like the Good and the Beautiful. Like we're just riding that train, and it served us well. We loved it. And then we're changing things up a little bit here and there. And I love curriculum. I love looking through curriculum, researching curriculum, and deciding what to use, how to use it. And so it's been really, really fun. Like this year we have the most variety we've ever had in our homeschool, and I really love it. And so far, we're about a month into our school year, and I love it. I don't really have any regrets on anything that we're doing, and I don't really think that I want to change anything up anytime soon. Everything seems to be working well. The kids seem to be enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's working well. It's working with our schedule. And so, I think like this year feels very successful, and I'm enjoying it. That's what we're doing for this school year. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the curriculum that I've mentioned today. Let me know if you'd like a more thorough walkthrough of anything. And just let me know. Thanks.